Hi Skin Deep Geekers, I am your hostess Nini. This is another episode of Skin Deep Geek. You can follow our Instagram page at Skin Deep Geek or our Facebook page at Skin Deep Geek. And you can also check out our Spanish site at Belleza Ciencia Abierta and our YouTube Spanish site for all of these videos in Spanish. So unless you've been living under a rock, you might as well know that last November, Americans took a giant leap back to the 1950s when they decided to vote Donald Trump as the 45th president of the USA. Now, that was really by the Electoral College, not the popular vote. Now, he's being sworn in today. And that means that now Republicans control both the executive and legislative branch of government. And they have certain plans for our skin and for our health. So Donald Trump has consistently claimed that climate change is a hoax designed by the Chinese to impede U.S. manufacturing. He has also threatened to pull the U.S. outside of the Paris Climate Agreement, which was actually signed by 194 other countries. So that's 194 other countries that couldn't possibly be wrong. Well, climate change is not a hoax. It's very real, as I've said before. And in fact, the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, NASA, which is the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, as well as the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, all concur that climate change indeed is real, guys. And not only is it real, it's actually being caused by human activity. We are responsible for most of the climate change. So what is climate change? Climate change is the alteration of the global climate patterns as a result of greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are mainly carbon dioxide. Now, we produce carbon dioxide when we breathe, but so do the burning of fossil fuels, such as oil and coal, also the semiconductor manufacturing industry, agriculture, deforestation, because trees absorb CO2, which they need for photosynthesis. So it turns out that carbon dioxide traps heat through a mechanism called the greenhouse effect. So let's see how exactly that happens. Start with radiation, right? So radiation is the electromagnetic energy transmitted in the forms of rays, waves, or particles through matter and space. So our sun emits solar radiation, mostly in the form of visible light, also as well as UV and near infrared. And in turn, the Earth is either going to absorb this energy or reflect it. So the clouds in the atmosphere reflect about 20% of it, and the rest comes into the Earth, and it's distributed amongst the Earth's 5 components of the Earth's climate system, which are water, ice, the atmosphere, rocky crust, and the living things. However, there is a difference between the sun and the earth. So as a result, some of that energy that is absorbed by the earth is actually emitted back into space, and that is thermal radiation. So if that were the case, we'd be okay. But it turns out that now this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is going to trap some of that thermal radiation, and guess what? It's going to send it back to the earth. So therefore, there's not a balance in this energy equation between how much radiation we're getting from the sun, how much is getting reflected, how much is getting absorbed, how much is getting emitted, because now we have an extra component that's getting pushed back down to the earth due to these carbon emissions. Carbon dioxide is actually transparent to the solar radiation, but it's opaque to the thermal radiation from the earth. So the earth in turn is getting warmer, and what this means is that this radiative equilibrium is actually being perturbed. So what does that mean? These temperatures are going to wreak havoc on your skin. Like extreme heat will make your skin sweat more, your pores will be bigger, you're also going to break out more. Also, these, harsh weather conditions, like these really extreme winters, are going to cause your skin to crack and to dehydrate. And also, there's something to be said about the UV radiation itself. Now, the ozone layer has been healing. However, these extreme temperatures make it more likely for somebody to get cancer. In fact, for every degree Celsius increase in temperature in the earth, the chance of getting skin cancer increases by 5%, and that has been proven in mice. To make it worse, yes, there's more. Trump nominated a leading activist against the EPA, Scott Pruitt, is that French? And he's also decided to repeal Obamacare, these Republicans. So not only are you going to be having worse skin, you're not going to be able to go to the dermatologist dermatologist for it. So that's not good. And to top it all off, they want to defund Planned Parenthood, which provides leading services for women such as birth control and abortions and all these things that keep your stress levels down, especially when you're sexually active. So there you have it. You are going to have increased heat, humidity, dryness, wrinkles, skin cancer, hormonal acne, and no access to the healthcare you need to get these things in check. So my tips for the next 4 years: well, if you can, keep your cool, put on tons of sunblock, but do stay out of the sun. Try to keep the stress levels low, try to stay hydrated, and try to stay positive. We will get through this. That's all for today, girls, and I will see you on our next episode of Skin Deep Geek. Bye.